Today I want to share an amazing resource for sewers on cool tools. Today I'm talking about Threads Magazine. I've talked about Threads Magazine in the past, and I wanted to officially include it as a cool tool because it really is a cool tool. Every issue of Threads Magazine is packed with different techniques, how-tos, pattern review, and even looking at the ads can help you stay in the know when it comes to what's going on with sewing. So I really wanted to take a minute and just share with you. I have the spring issue in front of me, and when you turn to the table of contents right out of the gate, you can see Cha-Cha Hudson with her dress form. She did a very cool article on plus-size sewing. So that's the featured article in this. And then, paging through, I just want to point out some of the things that are very, very cool. For example, if you've never had a chance to take a class from Kenneth King, who is amazing, by the way, he does a feature in the magazine called How Did They Do That? And he basically breaks down a detail on a cool garment and shows you how to do it yourself. So in the spring issue, it's part 2 of the Swagger lapel. So he literally goes into depth and shows you how to construct that from start to finish. So I thought that was a really, really cool look. It's from the 50s, and seeing it in a 3D garment, it may look like it's hard or complicated to do, but once you see how he breaks it down and shows you all the steps, it's very, very doable. So I think that's a really cool thing in here. Then the other thing I always look at every issue is their pattern review. So the pattern review elevates the information that you would get from the printed envelope of a pattern. Not only does it tell you what the skill level is, the size ranging and fitting, and the fabrics, it'll also give you some style and sewing details that can help you decide if it's a pattern that you want to work with. Plus there's beautiful photography showing you the garment sewed up, as well as the front and back line drawings or flats. So I just think this is very cool. Plus there's a little key that tells you if it's got extended sizing, if it's available in a PDF download or printed or projector file, whether it's easy or challenging. I just think it gives a ton of information, and then you can find new patterns without leaving your house, which I think is very, very cool. Another thing in here that I love is if I flip to the last page, the last page is always a close-up of something that's either vintage or something off of the runway, or something special like that. And in this issue, they're sharing a modern interpretation of a double-breasted blazer that was inspired by Christian Dior's new look from 1947. For this close-up, there is a article showing you how to create this double-breasted blazer with ties in the back on page 158, which I think is just very, very cool. So you've got that. And I'm going to flip back to the last page again. The skirt with this jacket looks very, very similar to the skirt that I've been working on, the strippy skirt, which is an article in here as well that they adapted from 20 years ago. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about, I was paging through the magazine and I found that they had adapted my strippy skirt made from sheer fabrics, and then they have it as a thread favorite in here. And so you can literally start to finish make the skirt right out of the pages of this magazine. And then I decided to share how to make a knit version of the skirt. So I was working on that, and I'm just going to pull it over here just to show you. So here's where I am on my knit skirt. So you can see it's got a very similar look to what's going on in the article. They even made another version for this updated article showing a raw edge waistline, which is very, very cool. Leaving the hem unfinished adds to the flirtiness of this skirt. And plus, I get to see myself 20 years younger, which was really fun. But it's just another example of the quality of the content in this magazine. There's also skill building types of tutorials. There's a very good article about French seam pockets, so how to do a French in the seam pocket, and it's all laid out with all of the steps to do it, and how to match prints. And I think in particular this article has a lot of very good information about analyzing the print of your fabric and then positioning your pattern pieces on the fabric to then get it to be lined up in your garment and make it flattering. There's an excellent article about shirt dresses and how to pick the right style for your shape, because there isn't just one style shirt dress. There are lots of styles. And then there's also information about fitting, which I think is very, very cool. There's a spring outlook, so you can look and see what the trends are for spring. And then in addition to seeing what the trends are, there are a list of patterns that you can try for each of these looks. So I think that that's a super cool thing to have. So it's packed with articles to help you, brush up your skills, try something new, do a DIY project, be on trend for the season. And then the other thing I don't want to not talk about here is all of the ads in this magazine are super helpful. They're all sewing related. Like, for an example, I was thinking about my own schedule and I was trying to plan some things, and I was flipping through the magazine and they have all of the dates for the original Sewing and Quilt Expo in here. So, I'm paging through and I'm finding information about, different events that are happening, different new notions, and other fun things as well. So, make sure you pay attention to the ads, because the ads are useful in themselves. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about Threads magazine. We all know that, print versions of magazines and newspapers are getting more and more expensive to produce. I feel like with all of the online content and all of the other things going on, I want to just take a minute and support a quality printed magazine, because there's something about having it in your hand, turning the pages, and then having it as a resource, after you're done looking at it. So I wanted to officially include this in my cool tools, because I really feel like it is a cool tool. And it's almost like Christmas morning when my issue comes in the mailbox. I save it for the morning, and then I page through it and read it when I'm having my coffee the next morning. So that's my tradition for reading Threads magazine. And I just think there's a lot in there, so you're missing out if you don't have it. There is also a digital version of the magazine. I will put links to that as well as subscribing to the magazine in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, please post those below and I will help you. I would love to hear if you have a favorite article or technique that you've tried. I'd love to, kind of hear about what catches your eye in an issue of Threads magazine. I think that would be fun. If you're enjoying my content, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, because it helps me grow. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.